Hey everyone, my name is Nick. I've been programming for over 10 years, and today I'm going to teach you how to use the terminal. The terminal is something that a lot of beginners scratch their head whenever they open it up. They don't know what's going on. They don't know why it's so ancient, so difficult to use compared to all the other applications they're used to using every single day. So this is going to be a 4-part series that's going to teach you everything you need to know. I recommend watching the entire series to get a really deep understanding because it's going to make a lot of other programming tasks incredibly simple and straightforward. So let's get started. The first part is going to cover the history of the terminal, why you might want to use it, and how to navigate around. The other parts are going to go into other details and teach you everything you need to know. So you might be wondering why as developers we need to use something that looks and behaves like this, has a pretty old ancient interface, whereas the rest of us computer users have really clean interfaces with buttons. Everything makes sense and it's very easy to use and understand. Well, the reason for that is twofold. There's certainly a historic element to it. The first and most primitive interface, the way to interact with a computer, was the terminal, and entering commands and understanding how that works was essential to using some of the earliest Unix systems. The other side to it is quite pragmatic. It's actually very, very easy and straightforward to use the terminal and to understand how it works once you spend about an hour or so using it. And this tutorial is certainly going to help you get there. Once you know how to use the terminal, a lot of things become really, really easy. For example, it's very easy to write your own shortcuts, your own programs, and to deeply customize your experience. Whereas with user interfaces, what you get given is mostly what you get. Maybe there's some customizability, but you can't change absolutely everything, which is something you definitely have the power to do. Also, one thing that's very easy to do is compose programs. So make it possible to basically combine multiple programs into one. And this takes absolutely no time to do with something like aliases. I'm going to teach you how to do that a little bit later. But what that means is it's very easy to compose the programs together. If you've ever used something like if this then that, IFTTT, for your phone to connect multiple apps and resources together, this is something that you can do infinitely using the terminal and terminal applications. So hopefully those are two great reasons to learn the terminal. So let's start with the basics. What we have here is our terminal window. If you want to open a terminal, just type in terminal. There's the default one is called terminal, but there's also third-party applications like iTerm, which you can use as well. I typically use iTerm, but for this video, I'm just going to show you how to use the basic terminal. There's literally no difference between them except for how it looks and customizability and some advanced features, which we're not going to go into. At the core of all of it is what's called the shell, which is Bash or Z shell, or you might also see the term Unix shell. This is what we're going to be learning today. We're going to be focusing on macOS, but you can also use the Bash shell on Windows. This is not something I'm going to cover in this video. So let's take a look at what you can see here, which is the prompt. The prompt is where you can enter commands. For example, one such command is ls. Once I enter a command, I press enter, and it will print out what is called its output. So we enter commands, it prints out some output, and then I'm given the prompt once again. You can see here with the arrow and the tilde here, I'm able to enter more commands. So for example, I can run the same command again, and it will once again print out some output. This is how you interact with the terminal. You enter a command, it sends you back some output, and then you're able to enter another command. Another such command is clear. You can always use clear to basically clear your output. Otherwise, you're just going to see a scrolling window with all of your output from your previous commands. So let's learn a few basic commands. The first one is pwd, which stands for print working directory. The reason you typically see this with commands is that they're sort of abbreviations or shorthands for what you're actually trying to do. This allows you to run them very quickly. So pwd is 3 characters and enter, you can run that very quickly. So when you run pwd, the output that you get is the current directory which your shell is in. So your terminal is going to be, at any given point, you're going to be in a particular directory. This is kind of analogous to being in Finder. And in Finder, when you navigate, there's a certain current directory which you're in. So this is showing you that. So currently I'm in my home directory, which on macOS is /users and then my username. This is what you call your home directory. And when you open up the shell, this is the directory with kind of serves as the context for all the commands that you run. So the next thing we might want to do is change the directory. Changing the directory is sort of similar to navigating within Finder. So let's do that using the change directory command, or cd. So cd allows me to move to a different directory. For example, I can move into my documents directory by typing documents and pressing enter. Now I'm in my documents directory. You can see in my shell, I can see that it's part of the prompt. If I run pwd again, you can see that now I'm in the documents directory. So I can run cd again, but this time I'm not typing anything else. And what this does is it will by default always send me back to my home directory. So you can always type cd and it will always send you back to your home directory. So this is an example of a command that takes in an argument. Let me just run clear again to clear the display. And if I type in cd documents without pressing enter, what you see here is the commands that I'm running, as well as what we call the argument to that command. So the command tends to be sort of one word with a space in between, and then you can have arguments. You don't necessarily need to have one argument. Different commands have different numbers of arguments. In this case, cd as an argument takes the name of the directory that you want to change to. So if I run this and then run pwd, you see I'm in documents. One other thing I can do is run cd with ... This will send me one directory back. So it will send me from documents back to Nick. So you see now I'm back in Nick. The next command we might want to learn is, a command that lets us figure out, where I can go next. So this is sort of analogous to in Finder, seeing all the files and folders in a particular directory. In the terminal, we do that with the ls command, or list. So ls lets me see all of the possible files and directories that exist inside the directory that I'm in. So this is very helpful because this kind of tells you where you can go. For example, if I want to go into pictures from here, I can just run cd pictures. I don't have to type out pictures entirely. The cool thing about shell is that you have auto-completion for a lot of the basic commands. So I can type in pi and then tab, and it will let me autocomplete to pictures, because pictures is the only directory here which starts with pi. So by default will autocomplete to pictures. So this lets me basically navigate around my file system. So I can run cd to get into my home directory, then I can run ls to see where I can go. For example, I can go into my library directory. So I will type in li and then tab. Then I can see all of the possible places I can go. Let's go into, say, sounds, right? And now I can see where I am. If I run pwd, I am in users/nick/library/sounds. And I can go back. For example, I can even jump up 2 levels. So from library sounds, I can go back to my user directory by typing in ... // as you can see, is the separator between different directories in the hierarchy. So I can use ... to say I want to go one step back, and then / and then one step back from there. So let's run clear again, print working directory, and I'm back. And this is how you navigate between directories. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you for the next part.